And I couldn't tell you how many times people who are just sitting over there and they're listening, they're thinking, it pricks their heart. So whether it's a telephone conversation like the guy who called me up one time and he used God's name in vain about 4 or 5 times while he was ordering a duck call. He wants a duck call. Well, after about the 5th time that he come out with this ungodly language, I said, let me ask you something. Why would you keep using God's name like that? I said, oh, he wants a duck call. And there was silence. And I said, you still there? He said, hey, I'm still here. You got my duck call coming? I said, I got it coming. He goes, boom. I just asked him a simple question. Why would you be using that kind of language in the process of ordering a duck call? Look, 10 minutes goes by, the guy calls again, and he says, you know what? He said, hey, it's me. I said, well, what about it? The question's still on the table. And he said, Mr. Robertson, I've never thought about that on my language. I said, well, you're going to die one of these days, aren't you? And he said, yeah, I'm going to die. I said, why would you curse the only one I know of who can save you from that? He said, I just never thought about it. I said, you know what you ought to do? He said, what's that? I looked at his order where he ordered the duck call, and it said Alabama. I said, you're from Alabama. It'd take you about 9 or 10 hours. I said, why don't you just drive over here and I'll tell you a story about the one you're cursing. You may change your mind. He said, I may do that. I said, you ought to. Boom. 1 week goes by, knock on the door. A guy steps in and says, you know who I am? I said, I don't think so. He said, I'm the guy from Alabama who was cursing God. I said, so you did come? He said, I gotta know. I gave him the good news about Jesus. He and his friend, you know what they did? They cried. Took them down the river and baptized them. And they went on their way rejoicing. 17 years later, I spoke in Alabama, and some dude came up and said, Roberts, you remember the guy that called you on the phone and he drove over there and was converted? I said, I remember that dude. He said, he's one of the leaders in this church now. I said, really? He said, yep. That is how you put God's word into action.